We need a prompter for the bunker. It's an honor to have you here.
Ladies and gentlemen, 45 years ago, I was a very normal student, doing everything my parents asked me to do. And that's not difficult, because what your parents decide for you, you do. But then, when I was in college, 1965, I went to a village for the first time. I saw hunger, I saw starvation, I saw death. And if you come from a very protected environment, and if you go to a very, very expensive school and college, the most expensive in India, then it can be a bit of a shock. And it shocked me that there was a part of my country where people were dying of hunger, dying of starvation, and we call our country a great country. So then, I came back home and I told my mother that I want to live and work in a village. Mother went into a coma. She said, "What is this? The whole life is laid out for you. You're getting the best job the country can give you. You have any job you can think of, and it's lying for you, waiting for you. What is this you want to go to a village? What do you want to do in a village?" I said, "I want to dig wells as an unskilled laborer." Didn't go down well at all. You go to the best school and college and you want to dig wells as an ordinary laborer? I said, yes. I want to see what the other part of my country is like. I want to see if I can contribute. I want to see if the education that I have, which is so expensive, can I give back to my society? She wouldn't speak to me for many years because she thought I had let my family down. My family was expecting me to be a diplomat or a bureaucrat or a businessman, and here I was being an unskilled laborer. So for 5 years, I dug wells, open wells, went 100 feet into the ground, and I dug wells. And that was when I was exposed to the most extraordinary knowledge and skills that very poor people have. Tremendous knowledge and skills and wisdom that we don't know about, that we don't read about, that we don't even think about. I can tell you it is here in Turkey as well, because every traditional society in any village, in any part of the world has this knowledge and skill. So I went to this village for the first time. Elders came to me, said, "Are you running from the police?" I said, "No." "You failed in your exam?" I said, "No." "You didn't get a government job?" I said, "No." "Why are you here? What is wrong with you? You get the most expensive school and then you come back to a village. There is something wrong with you, you're not telling us." I said, "No, I voluntarily wanted to come and live and work in a village." So then they said that there is one advice I want to give you. I said, "Oh, what is the advice?" He said, "In your, whatever you start, never get anyone with a degree and qualification into your college. So it is the only college in the world that if you should have a PhD or a master, you're disqualified to come. You have to be a dropout or a cop-out or a washout to come to my college. You have to have someone who works with his hands, dignity of labor, someone who has something to contribute to society." So then we started what is called now the only college in the world, is called the Barefoot College. And we redefined professionalism. Who is a professional today? A professional is someone who has a combination of competence, confidence, and belief. A water diviner is a professional. A traditional midwife is a professional. A traditional bone setter is a professional. All these people have tremendous knowledge that you don't recognize. And the Barefoot College wanted to recognize them for the first time and bring their ideas and knowledge into mainstream, because that knowledge and skill is invaluable. Why barefoot? Because millions of people walk barefoot. It is symbolic of the knowledge and skills that very poor people have that you don't hear in universities and colleges. It is where the learner is the teacher and the teacher is the learner. It's a place where you make mistakes, and it's the only college in India where you don't give a paper qualification, because the certification is done by the community you serve, not by the college you go to. So when we said that, they said, prove to us, show us what you're talking about. So we built the Barefoot College in 3 years at $1.50 a square foot. 150 families stay there. When we got to the roof, all the women said, now all the men clear out, because this technology I don't want to share with the men. So the women have a technology of waterproofing the roofs, which you see there. It is mixture of traditional materials, jaggery, cow's urine, but it doesn't leak, I can tell you. It's the only college in India which is fully solar energized. 45 kilowatts of panels on the roof, and for the next 25 years, as long as the sun shines, I have no problems with power. My 40 computers, my telephone exchange, my electronic mail, my film unit, everything works off the sun. And it's the only college in India which is connected by electronic mail, and we can do video conferencing from here. We are already in the 21st century. It's the only college, if you come, you get solar cooked food. 60 meals a day, twice a day, you get solar cooked. But the beauty is that it was fabricated by women. You know, Mark Twain said, never let school interfere with your education. School is where you learn how to read and write. College is what you learn from your environment, from your community, and from your family. Now these women have fabricated the most sophisticated solar cooker in the 21st century, but they are all illiterate. They are almost half German because they're so precise. You know, Indian women are not very precise, but they are so precise they can make the solar cooker. They make that clock which can turn off the sun. We have grandmothers who are dentists. They don't know how to read and write, but in 6 months they can do you a root canal, I can tell you. We have come to the conclusion in the Barefoot College that men are untrainable. Men are ambitious, men are compulsively mobile, and all the men want a certificate. And the moment you give a man a certificate in any village, he will go looking for a job in a city. So the best solution is to train women, and not only women, but grandmothers. We have trained over 70 women all over India to be solar engineers. All sitting on one table and learning more about solar engineering. These ladies may be illiterate. How do we train them? Sign language. You don't use the written word. You don't use the spoken word. You only use sign language. Only through sign, sight, and sound You can train any woman in the world to be a solar engineer. These women know more about solar engineering than any graduate after 5 years of university. We use solar lighting for employment generation. Solar lanterns are used at night where there are no electrified villages, and over $100,000 you can. Education is so important for renewal and growth. We take children who don't go to school in the morning because they look after animals. I don't know if the situation is the same in Turkey in remote villages, but they can't go to school in the morning, so they go to school at night. And the night schools of Tilonia are all solar lit. So about 7,000 children go to 150 night schools. But we also teach them about democracy, about citizenship, about how you should vote. You shouldn't buy a vote, you shouldn't cross the floor. So every 3 years, 7,000 children vote a prime minister. The prime minister is 12 years old. She looks after 20 goats in the morning, but she's prime minister in the evening. Very powerful. She has a cabinet, you see the whole cabinet, between 6 and 14. They run the schools, they monitor the schools, they supervise the schools. If the prime minister should write me a letter that this teacher is misbehaving, he is fired, because that's the prime minister after all. 5 years ago, she went to get the World's Children's Prize from the Queen of Sweden. First time ever going out of a village, never dazzled by anything around her. So the Queen of Sweden turned to me and said, please ask this child, the Prime Minister is on her left. Where did she get her confidence from? She's not at all intimidated by anything around her. So I asked her. So the girl turned to the Queen straight in the eye, looked at her straight in the eye, and said, please tell her I'm the Prime Minister. Water is a big issue. So in water, the best, I think in Turkey also you have the same problem. Why aren't we collecting water? Wherever the rain falls, we should collect water. This is a practice which was done hundreds of years ago. So what we did was bring in the people's technology, and we built the dam. And that dam now has more water, and about a radius of 10 kilometers, the water goes underground and feeds all the wells and the hand pumps. Today, over 12 million liters have gone underwater. And how many villages have benefited? So what is the answer today? Decentralize. How do you decentralize your solution? How do you make it so that the people own the solution? That the people can use their own knowledge and skills for their own solution? So then we went to Africa. The decentralized, demystified approach, we wanted to see if it could work outside India. So we went to Africa. This is the lighting that they use in many parts of Africa. Very small, very dark. So what did we do? Over the last 5 years, we have trained over 300 grandmothers from all over Africa. I have a great agreement with the government of India that should I select any grandmother from any part of the world, including Turkey, I hope, the government of India will give me the airfare and 6 months training course to bring them to India. 36 grandmothers sitting on one table, all talking to each other but not understanding a word, because they're all speaking in Jola or Swahili or French, but they chatter, but the body language is great, you know. And I keep telling them that you are the only solar engineers of Africa, the only. For all the universities and colleges that you have, still everyone either stays in the city or goes abroad. No one stays in a village. So this woman, these women are the only solar engineers of Africa. So we have covered almost the whole continent of Africa. with those women who have come. There is a mad, crazy scheme called the Millennium Villages of the UNDP and this so-called expert called Mr. Jeff Sachs. He's come up with an idea that he should spend in one village $2.5 million. And for all that we've done, we've covered 100 villages, solar electrified them. We've trained 300 grandmothers. We have solar electrified 20,000 houses. And they're all the cost of $2.5 million. We had the Dalai Lama coming to us. Very first time ever, the Dalai Lama actually spent a night in a village, our village. And he saw the whole process, and he said something very profound. He said, now that you've shown the Barefoot College working in practice, let's see if the researchers, if the experts, if all these high-powered people who have so many degrees can make it work in theory. Very difficult, because I'm doing everything wrong. And yet, I'm not following any principle, I'm not following any rule, I'm not following any expert. You know, the definition of an expert is an ordinary man from another town. It does not need a paper degree to be an expert. You just have to have common sense and open your eyes. So my time is almost done. I will end with a quotation of Mahatma Gandhi. He said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. Thank you.